This is John Lynch with Peak Profits Advisors, and this is a demo of the screening software we use to identify tax and other savings that a business might be eligible for. It's based upon over 18 years of experience with thousands of companies, tens of thousands of companies, and in diverse industries. And so the algorithm here is derived it's experiential, and it's not just numbers pulled out of the air. And it is tailored to each industry. In this case, I've set up some dummy information here and set it up for the manufacturing industry. So let's proceed. First, do you own any commercial property? Obviously, yes. And I'm going to pick some arbitrary numbers for all of this since it's hypothetical, just to give you an example. So let's say in this example, it's $3.6 million, and that there's been another $500,000 invested in renovation costs since then. Property taxes, are they over $30,000 a year? Let's say $50,000, just to pick a nice round number. And annual payroll, $250,000 or more. Let's say $3,250,000, as if we're doing this with some degree of precision, which we're not. And any revenue prior to 2015, yes. And next. How many new employees hired per year? These days, that's probably hard to estimate, but let's be very conservative and go with 15. Credit card, do you take credit cards? Of course. Let's pick a number, let's say 2.5 million. And they would not be swiped. And then we're going to do next. Waste and recycling, this is usually a small number, but we'll do it anyway, and let's just say it's $1,000 a month. Workers' comp premiums over $40,000 a year, we're going to say yes, and we're going to say $60,000 a year. Why not? And self-insured, let's say no. And let's go with next. Okay, so here's a summary of the potential savings that we've found for this test company. And as you can see, it comes to over $500,000 a year. $500,000, I mean to say. Some of this is recurring, but not all of it. The biggest item, of course, is the commercial property owner's incentive, which is a cost segregation study. So most business owners would want to start with that. You don't do these all at once. Generally, you would do these sequentially, and you would probably start with that one. Payroll tax credit is basically R&D credit, which most every manufacturer is actually eligible for, and most everyone doesn't realize it, so they don't get the benefit. In this case here, you can see it's a significant number, $169,000. And again, each of these are broken out individually. This one here you wouldn't pursue at all. And then we would go on to our next item, which is a summary basically of each of these categories. So you get a little brief 1 or 2 line summary and a couple case studies showing you what other companies have realized for this particular category. Same with the R&D studies. These are all manufacturer studies. This example we used, the test studies, $169,000. Some of these were quite a bit larger, 1.1 million in this case, or 290 in this case. Cost segregation, again, brief summary. Each of these includes the fees that will not exceed, by the way, these numbers. It's generally a little bit less, actually, depending on the size of the project. And you can see here, this manufacturer saved $290,000, not too far off from the number we had for this test study. Hiring incentives for the 15, I think it was, we said employees, new hires a year, would again be a relatively small amount, but worth pursuing, $18,000. And this would occur every year, assuming you hire the similar number every year. Credit card processing fee, in this example again, would be $15,000. And I think workers' comp is last on the list. Nope, wrong. We wouldn't pursue this one at all because it's not worth pursuing. And then we would end up here at the end here, and you would, the client, the company decides if it makes sense for them to proceed with this, we would schedule a time, a date and a time, and confirm it. And at that time, what would happen is we would get on a discovery call with the people at the national office who do this day in and day out, and would ask some additional questions of the company and basically come up with a more fine-tuned estimate of how much that company could expect to save. So if this makes sense for your business, feel free to email me at john@peakprofitsadvisors.com. Thanks for listening.